Welcome to the Suffolk Sustainable Schools Network. This is our first meeting of the year, of this year, and this is on waste. So we're very lucky to be joined by the Suffolk Waste Partnership, which is a collaboration between all of Suffolk's districts and county councils. And we've got 3 members of the team here to talk to us about their work. We've also got Siobhan Odell, hopefully, from Suez, who's going to talk to us about their energy from waste facility and also the resources and engagement that they offer. And we've got Catherine Fleet from Recoup, who's going to talk about their work and also the resources that they offer. And then we should have a chance for some networking in our breakout rooms. Okay, so I'm going to just get started with a little update from the network. Here we go. So this is just for those that have only just joined us, this is their first event. My name is Rebecca Elston-Haynes. I'm the School Sustainability Lead. So I started the network just over a year ago and it's doing fantastically well. We've got over 200 members now representing around 130 schools and trusts. So it's really great to have you here. Thank you for being part of this and driving it forward. We've also got Louise Antignoli, who's our School Sustainability Support Officer, who supports me to run the network, but also put on other training events, and who basically organises the Our Schools, Our World primary sustainability programme, which I'll go through in a minute. Okay. So just a bit of an update on Our Schools, Our World. So as I said, this is a whole school sustainability programme for the primary schools in Suffolk. We've run 2 cohorts of the programme now and we've got 23 schools enrolled. So we've delivered training, in-person training, to about 60 members of staff from those schools in person. So we just finished the 2nd cohort's worth of training a couple of weeks ago. And all of them have started their journey, and part of that training was starting their climate action plans. So 100% of them have started. Some of them are quite a way through developing those climate action plans, and also they've started delivering their staff training to those that weren't in the in-person training, and that includes on climate literacy and kind of the eco literacy as well that's associated with the program. So really great program. Unfortunately, we're not running any training again until probably this time next year. We put in a bid to run that again, so we're hoping to get the funding. But you know, if you do want to express interest, what we might do is send out an expression of interest form, just so that you can let us know if that is something you want to be part of next year, and that will just help us with our bid to gain the funding for that. Okay, something else I wanted to let you know about is the Sustainability in Education Conference. So we ran this in April last year, and we're running it again in the next academic year. So this is going to be on the 22nd of June at the Food Museum and Stowe Market. We're inviting schools from Suffolk and also Norfolk as well, and it's really an opportunity to hear from expert speakers. We're hoping to have experts kind of in the field of sustainability in education, giving us you know, updates on what is available in terms of teacher training, teacher support, and also we showcase in our exhibit all the different organisations that can support you as schools to kind of launch initiatives. We run workshops, and this year, you know, last year was all about starting your climate action plan, you know, understanding what should be involved in an action plan, looking at decarbonisation, looking at adapting to the kind of extreme weather that's going to be happening due to climate change. But this year we're hoping to go beyond that, and we're looking more at biodiversity. We've got hopefully an interactive card game where you look at how you can engage with increasing biodiversity on your site and what benefits there are there. We've also got some stuff on sustainability and AI policy. There's going to be a range of different things involved. In fact, I might show you the poster at the end of this network meeting just so that you get an idea of what workshops are available. This presentation is going to be shared at the end of this, and on it there is a YouTube link to kind of a little video of what we got up to last year, so you can have a look. Just a reminder about our free energy audits. So these are for secondary schools only. At the moment, again, I've put in a bid to hopefully expand this kind of work into primary schools. But yeah, at the moment, we've only got this funding until basically March time, and in order to deliver the reports, we need the site visits to be booked in before Christmas. So this is now a limited offer, and we just need to get those booked in. So if you are interested, or you know anyone in a secondary school that might be interested in an energy audit, please get in touch. We deliver school visits, and then the groundwork who do this, they write you an energy report. We hold a review meeting where we go through that report, and we talk about how you can then start or integrate it into your decarbonisation plan. And then for the schools that then go and write a decarbonisation plan, you can apply to get Energy Sparks, which is a free kind of energy usage monitoring tool and curriculum tool. So yeah, you can apply to get that free for a year. And then we've also got a solar panel project, which I'm hoping we're going to run a webinar on in November. Again, that's for secondaries only, but that is an offer we have as well. Okay, and then just so you know, sorry about the numbers, but just so you know, we're still working on our dedicated website. So the website is going to be designed to, you know, help you develop your knowledge and skills when it comes to addressing sustainability. So there'll be a climate action planning toolkit with lots of links off to different organisations that can support you and different information that you need to put together that document. It's also going to have a secure platform for the Our Schools, Our World programme, and another bid that we've put in is to launch that within a secondary context. So hopefully we can expand that offer as well. We're going to have all of our newsletters, so you can look at historical copies of the newsletter and also access the meeting recordings, and hopefully they'll be a little easier to navigate, so you can see, say you're interested in Energy Sparks and finding out more, we'll have a 15-minute clip on what Energy Sparks offers, and the different organisations that support us with the network meetings. And Louisa's very kindly been putting together a sustainability calendar, so that can, you know, if you want to run, say, a week on something in particular, looking at waste, for example, you can try and tie it in with sort of national movements. And then we'll also be updating the training that we offer and the outreach opportunities that we have within that website. So we're hoping to get that website finished in the next couple of months, and I will let you know when it's ready. Okay, so I just wanted to start off with an introduction to the circular economy. I know if you have done the Our Schools, Our World training, some of this will seem quite familiar to you, and obviously there's a range of different knowledge that we've got amongst the audience, so apologies if it is a repetition of what you already know, but I just wanted to talk about basically the way that we consume at the moment, and it's a very linear process in that we extract the resources from the ground, we produce the items, we distribute them out, we consume, and then we dispose. And that is a model that we've been using for a very, very long time, and it's the way that we're used to using things. In fact, a lot of our systems are designed that way. For example, mobile phones. You know, the current system is that when you reach the end of your contract, you're offered a new phone. What do you do with your old phone? Well, if you can find someone to take it, hopefully you can recycle it, but otherwise sometimes they just sit in drawers. But the model is really designed to encourage you to consume the next phone, and not necessarily focusing in on the fact that that phone has been made with a very, very thorough energy and carbon footprint along the way, and is it time to get a new phone? Can we think of a different way of consuming these resources? In fact, so the kind of controversially called developed world is huge consumers of Earth's resources. And if you looked at the number of Earths needed, if everyone used the renewable resources that we have at our disposal at the same rate as these individual countries, you can see if everybody on the planet used things the way that the USA does, we would need 5 Earths worth of resources, and the UK 2.8 Earths worth of resources. And it's these, these countries that are kind of need to address the way that they're consuming the resources of our finite planet. So I just wanted to make you aware of kind of how we need to address that. And the circular economy is a way that we can start making a dent on that impact that we're having on Earth's resources. It's basically taking the linear model and actually going, well, how can we circle back and look at extending the life of the resources that we are extracting out of the ground. And you can see here, so instead of going to landfill, the first stop is we could repair the item and or extend the use of the item. We could reuse the item, so sell it on and get someone else to use it. And a lot of people are engaging with that. Vintage is booming, and reuse is very popular now. We could refurbish it and we can recycle it. And you can see here that recycling actually goes all the way back, and that probably is a very energy intensive form of reintroducing something back into this system. It is better to extend the use as long as we can. So Bea Johnson is a activist and environmental writer in the US, and she says what we need to do is refuse what you do not need, reduce what you do need, reuse what you consume, and recycle what you cannot refuse, reduce, or reuse, and then rot or compost the rest. So it's just quite a nice way of thinking about it. Another way to showcase that is the waste hierarchy. So I don't know if some of you teach this in schools or you've seen it, but it's just a nice sort of upside down triangle that says, look, this is where we should be. We should be reducing, we should be rethinking what we're doing, and we should be redesigning something. So for example, with if you think about a washing machine, does it make sense that people buy a washing machine until it breaks and then they throw it away and buy a new one? Or does it make more sense to restructure the way we use things, that actually we borrow the washing machines from a service provider, and then when they break down, they go back to the service provider and we re-rent a machine? So it's not always about redesigning the actual item to change the way that we use that item. It can also be about the structures and the way that we view ownership. So I just wanted to put that out there. So yeah, and then we reuse, we recycle, we recover the value as much as we can, and then we dispose of the very minimum. And we want to reduce that as much as possible. And then this is just a final slide, just to say, a lot of this thinking is about, it's about changing the way we think. It's about reframing the way that we see materials and goods. So if we can just maybe sometimes this is related to the language we use around the things we use. It's not always about just thinking, oh, we're going to recycle that, so I'm going to drink this bottle of water, but don't worry, I'm going to recycle it. How can we change the way we think about things? So I just wanted to introduce that in terms of language as well. So that's kind of the bit on the circular economy. What we try and do is we try and talk about case studies and look at what other schools are doing. And Louisa is the best placed person to do that because she's done lots of site visits with the Our Schools, Our World programme. So she's just got a few little things that she's seen or ideas that she's got that she would like to talk about. I'm going to hand over to you, Louisa.
Lovely, thanks Becca. Yeah, it's the real highlight actually of my role that I am able to go in and visit schools as part of the Our Schools, Our World programme. I go in and I do a review and I see
yes. I phoned this afternoon to see if it was possible to get an appointment in yet.
Oh, hang on a minute, we got someone who's not muted. Rebecca, I'll let you have a look at that. Yes, I get to go in and see how they're running with the Our School, Our World framework. So part of the framework covers 6 topics, and the idea is that those 6 topics, so 6 sustainability topics, taught one per term. So it's a 2-year rolling programme, and one of the topics is waste and consumption. So it was one of the topics that I picked up on the review meetings I conducted over the summer, and I gleaned some really brilliant ideas from the schools I visited. I'm always amazed when I do pop into schools at the innovation and the clever thinking and the hacks that they've devised around these themes. So the picture you can see there is actually from Birchwood Primary School. And that's their recycling centre that's open not only to pupils, but also to families and the wider community. Each bin collects a different type of recyclable material, from baby bell wrappers to old spectacles, and there's even a bin for bras. So it's quite a fun way of showing pupils how much can be recycled. A lot of that system works because Birchwood have really dedicated members of staff, as do many of our primary schools, who actually take that recycling to various depots and send it off to be recycled in bigger plants. The beautifully coloured fridge there is their store for pre-loved books, because it provides perfectly waterproof container for pre-loved books, so children can come bring old books and collect old books from there. But other books, other ideas I came across during the review meetings, lots of people are using TerraCycle to recycle things like plastic stationery. Again, often that there are logistical issues of where that recycling is stored, whether it can be collected, or whether you need a volunteer from your staff or your wider community to take that or post that to where it needs to be. But there are also lots of conversations happening around consumption and careful use of resources. So trying to minimise photocopying, minimising laminating, replacing single-use items with reusables, right down from replacing staples for display boards with pins. Also, one school has got rid of plastic pens and they're using pencils for all lessons. Another school asks students to carry textbooks and exercise books through their years. So it always seems to inevitably happen in the last few weeks of an academic year. Students need a new book, they've run out of space. So they end up taking home a book where only a few pages have been written on. So encouraging them to take them up to the next school year is not only a brilliant way of making sure that resource is fully used, but it also shows them how that learning is continuous and it builds on the previous year's learning. I really like that idea. Other ideas include biodegradable stickers for exercise books. So again, just thinking around the procurement, what is being consumed and what will happen at the end of that product's life. Switching milk cartons from plastic for glass. Again, sometimes there's some logistics around that, but that's a really nice example of a way that one school rapidly reduced its plastic waste. And also, many of you may have come across this, I like this hack, replacing glue sticks with sort of homemade DIY tubs of glue sponges. So it's a bit like if you remember stamps, where you used to have a little squidgy, so you could, instead of licking the stamp, you could press the stamp down to stick it on your letter. It's a very similar concept, just uses some washing up sponges, a bit of PVA and some water, and then with a lid that can last for the whole academic year. And it also makes students just a little bit more careful with the amount of glue they're using. Pritt sticks are a bit too easy to overconsume, I think. There's always a shortage of Pritt sticks, and then you've got the plastic containers to deal with at the end. So I really, really like that hack. And if anyone knows of any other kind of waste reduction hacks that work in the classroom that you've tried and tested, please do let us know, and we'll keep an ideas board going on the Our Schools, Our World website. So I'd love to hear from you.
Thank you very much, Louisa. Brilliant. Yeah, feel free to share in the chat, yeah, any hacks that you would like to share with everybody else. Right, because we're just running a bit short on time, I'm going to move on to, I'm going to skip past this. Oh, I will just highlight this organisation. They don't have any funded positions at the moment, but they are hoping to get some. But it's a group that offer eco refill shops. So the idea is that you set this up in your school. It's a very much an enterprise project. So the students are responsible for running that. They purchase the soap, but then they make the profit back. To cover their costs. So I just wanted to highlight that, and we'll send the link out with the resources from this network meeting. Right, I'm going to hand over to Emily, Sam and April, who are from the Suffolk Waste Partnership, and they're also going to be talking about their school's toolkit for waste. So I'll hand straight over to you and stop sharing. Have I stopped sharing? Yes, I think so.
Hello everyone. You there, Emily, with the...
Yeah, I was just going to say, can everyone see my screen?
Yep, I can.
Yes.
It's not presenting, but yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you, Emily. Hello, everybody. I'm April Pickover and I am from Ipswich Borough Council. I am the Performance and Projects Officer for the Waste team, and one of my branches is education, so educating schools, residents all about recycling. And I've got two colleagues here with me, who is Samantha and Emily, and they will, I'm sure, introduce themselves when their slide gets to them. So next slide, please, Emily. So the Suffolk Waste Partnership is made up of all local authorities in Suffolk and also the county council. So it consists of Ipswich Borough Council, East Suffolk, West Suffolk, Mid Suffolk and Baber, and then Suffolk County Council, and we make up the Suffolk Waste Partnership. So what we do is, next slide. So we all meet up virtually, in person, and we share best practice, ideas, resources, updates on what everyone's doing, and we attend big Suffolk events together. Next slide. Ooh. So one of the big things that's probably happened in your schools or will be coming is the changes of simpler recycling, but for Suffolk it is going to be known as better recycling. So government legislation has introduced different waste streams to all local authorities across the UK to make recycling better and more simpler to follow. So hopefully wherever you go in the UK, it will be you recycle the same type of materials wherever you go. So for businesses, they went live this year, and for households, they're going live next year. So in Suffolk, it's the 1st of June, 2026. Next slide, please. So for schools, they can now recycle their food at their curbside, and then these changes and more will be reflected at home for all residents in Suffolk in June. So things like glass can be recycled at schools, but from next year, when our material recovery facility has been updated to accept the new streams of waste and recycling that we can accept at the curbside. Next slide. So for residents next year, some of you probably are residents from Suffolk, you will be getting a new wheelie bin at home, and then the food caddies as well at home. So there'll be separated materials from paper and card into one, and then and the other will be glass bottles and jars, metal food and drink cans, cartons, plastic bottles in one, and then your food waste caddy will be all your food waste in those two caddies that will be delivered early part of next year, and this is for all Suffolk residents. So again, Suffolk Waste Partnership are working in conjunction with one another to make sure that the scheme is throughout Suffolk consistent. Next slide. And then I will hand you over to Samantha.
Okay, thanks, April. My name's Sam Oldfield. I'm the Waste Education Officer at Baber and Mid Suffolk District Councils. My section of the network meeting today is to talk through a resource that will be shared with you after the meeting. It's a sustainable waste management toolkit that we've put together for schools. It's a collation of lots of resources and links that we've come across online, and ideas that we've picked up whilst we've been visiting school, and then some of our own resources as well. So I'm just going to give like a snapshot overview of what's within that document, but there's a lot more information, and as Becca just put in the chat, feel free to ask questions at the end of the meeting if there's anything you would like to know a little bit more about. So on screen you can see a basic version of the waste hierarchy. Our aim in schools is to help you move your waste up that hierarchy. And actually a misconception, particularly amongst children, is that recycling is the best thing that they could do with their waste. We all feel like we're doing something really positive for the environment by recycling something, but actually perhaps we could have prevented that waste in the first place, reduced it, or it's something that we could reuse. So this is where we want to help schools. We suggest that any kind of sustainable waste initiative is a whole school approach. Everybody needs to buy into it to make it work. And I'm sure that you've encountered problems along the line, but we recommend it from SLT to staff to support staff. Make sure cleaners, for example, know what should be going in bins. Cleaners are putting the right waste in the right bins. Catering teams, pupils, parents, parent-teacher associations as well, get them on board. And then, of course, families at home. By doing that, what the children are learning in school and the habits that they are encouraged to do in school is going to have an impact on their day-to-day behaviours, their daily life, and it becomes embedded. If it's part of a school's culture to separate waste and to reduce or prevent the waste in the first place, that's something that they will then take home and hopefully out into the wider world as they grow. And we recommend that pupils take a really active role in this. This isn't something that happens to them. They're involved in this at different stages, perhaps by an eco council, or if there is a student council, there's a waste theme to this, or maybe something like waste monitors or waste champions in every class. So the pupils are part of it, and it's not just something that's happening to them. Thanks, Emily. So the back to basics, the kind of the initial practical steps that we recommend happen first, if this isn't something you've already approached yet in your school, is do a waste audit. It is simply collecting all your rubbish, tipping it out, and your recycling, and looking to see what's in there, and look at what your largest waste streams are and tackle those first of all. Now, on our website, and it's linked in the toolkit, we have got a waste audit template. From that data, and by all means, get the children involved in this, get a group of children together. And I've done this in schools before. They love, with gloves on, getting dirty, and they love to see all of the rubbish. That's all of the different materials that have been thrown away. Look at what bin infrastructure you've got in place, and the waste audit will probably identify hotspots where recycling isn't happening, or food. Now, of course, the tackling food waste, the wrong things are going into the wrong bins. So have you got a suite of bins in a location? So when a children is standing faced with a bin, they have all three options: food, recycling, and rubbish in front of them. Are they easily accessible? And do they know what goes in the bins? Is there clear signage? Is it consistent across the school? And is the message continually repeated? In order to get that knowledge in a school community, talk to pupils within an assembly, bring it up and talk about it in staff meetings, communicate home with parents, and keep repeating this, and perhaps do another waste audit at a later date to see what progress is being made. Thanks, Emily. So once you've completed a waste audit and you've got an idea of what your waste looks like at school, there's likely to be some common waste streams. Paper is going to be a big one. And because of time, I won't go into detail about ways in which you could reduce or reuse paper, but there are lots of ideas in that toolkit, and please do have a look at those. General waste, particularly food packaging in containers, that's going to come from pupils' snacks and lunches. And then, of course, kitchens, catering teams, particularly if you're in a big secondary school, whereby nowadays a lot of food is being given over to students in containers rather than on plates with washable cutlery like we used to see. So again, we've got some ideas in the document for how you might be able to tackle that. Now that food waste is being separated, this is a brilliant opportunity to do a food waste audit. Some of you might have had it in place since the last term, last academic year. Some of you, I know, will just be now implementing that from September. But again, on our website, we've got a food waste audit template. Your aim, I would imagine, would be to reduce plate waste. That's a good opportunity for pupils to engage with caterers and to look at tweaking menus, what is popular, what isn't popular, what's being thrown away, and how it can be reduced. And again, lots of ideas in that document. And finally, and I know, Louisa, you spoke about this, and I have to say, some of those ideas that you've seen in schools are amazing. Some schools are doing really inspiring things. I've certainly picked up a few tips that I can share with my school contacts. But look at your purchasing policies and suppliers and kind of look down the supply chain. And if it's an option to choose materials which come with less packaging, for example, and there are alternatives out there, that's certainly something you could explore with a purchasing manager. The reuse initiatives, this is the kind of fun stuff which can also perhaps come at a later date, but working with PTAs, working with the local communities, I imagine lots of you have got uniform swaps in place, but what about Christmas jumper day when that comes around? Could your PTA perhaps encourage Christmas jumper swaps, or if your school celebrates Halloween, fancy dress or World Book Day swaps, to discourage people from going out and buying something if most children are going to have grown out of what they had the year before. So bring it all together, and it's a lovely, more fun way to reduce waste. And try and encourage a think before you throw mindset. So don't automatically put something immediately in the bin, even if it is a recycling bin. Get creative and encourage students to get creative about what could we do with this.
Thanks.
Oh, sorry, there is one more. Finally, this is the last thing from me. Keep the momentum. So you will put a lot of work into initiatives that the school does for sustainable waste management. So keep it on the agenda and be really vocal about it. Make sure it's talked about in assemblies and in newsletters and on your social media channels if you have them, and involve the local community and celebrate successes and rein things back in when you need a repeat of simple messages, even if it's just what can and can't be recycled. There are schemes, of course, like eco schools that you could join to kind of formalise waste. It's one of the themes that they have. So keep it going. It will be something that will need to be worked on and not forgotten about. But as I've said, there's lots of ideas in that toolkit, and we are all available should you have any follow-up questions. I imagine our email addresses will be shared with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
I'm going to hand over to Emily.
Yeah, we will send out these well, the presentations will be in the newsletter that we're sending out next week, and also we will attach the toolkit to an email that we'll send.
Okay. So part of my role at Suffolk County Council and in the Suffolk Waste Partnership is for our Better Recycling campaign to look at the different methods of behaviour change, so we can encourage residents to pick up the new system as smoothly as possible. So in order for behaviour change to take place, there needs to be sufficient quantities of capability, motivation and opportunity. And behaviour is sort of an action or response to stimuli. So think about your doing words. So you've got physical capability, which can in some senses be actual physical strength. So can someone go and carry a bin bag to the end of their drive or to the curb to put their rubbish in it? Psychological capability, so that's their knowledge. If they're engaging in the subject, then you've got reflective motivation, which is what your thoughts are. So if you're thinking about things, then that's your reflective motivation, whereas automatic motivation is more about impulses and desires and things that happen that you don't always think through. You've then got social opportunity, which is it sort of a herd mentality sort of thing. Is it generally accepted? And then you've got physical opportunity, which is provided by the environment. So it's other bins there available for people to put the items in. So in order to combat some of these behaviours and encourage behaviour change, there are intervention functions. So you've got education, which involves increasing knowledge, persuasion, which uses communication to stimulate action, coercion, which is expectation of punishment or cost. So for a good example for this is the 5p bag charges that came in. You've got restrictions, which are rules to reduce target behavior, environmental restructuring, so this is change to physical or social environment, training, which is imparting skills, enablement, which reduces barriers to increase ability, modeling, which provides an example for people to aspire to, and environmental and incentivization, which is the expectation of a reward. So something useful is this COM-B and intervention function grid, which is, I think, lays it out quite nicely. So the boxes that are ticked show the behaviors that people the barriers to behaviors, basically. So if people are struggling with psychological capability and reflective motivation, then you would use an education campaign, whereas if there were barriers to physical and social opportunity, then you'd take a restrictive approach. So what I'd recommend first of all is, if you want to go away and look at behaviours, then see what the barriers are to the behaviour that you want to change, think about what you want to implement, and then think about what is stopping either the staff or students from implementing these behaviours, and then that's where this grid comes into practice. And the last thing from me, which I think is quite useful, and I've been seeing this come up quite a lot recently, is called Start with the Why by someone called Simon Sinek, did a really interesting TED talk on it. So basically, whenever you're launching a new campaign or want to try and get people to change behavior, understand what your purpose is for why you're doing it and explain that to people. So for example, if you want to encourage students to start a reuse program or encourage parents to start a secondhand uniform shop, start with why it's important, then lead on to how you're going to do it, and then finally it will be what will it look like. So yeah, I think that's always, people tend to buy in quite a lot more if they know why they're doing something, instead of sort of being led blindly to do something. But yeah, that is the end of our presentation. I think there's questions at the end, so we'll leave it till then, Rebecca, unless you want people to jump in now.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's been a dialogue between Sam and April and people who are asking questions. If anyone would like to ask a question, now is your opportunity, just while I start presenting Siobhan's points. I think we're good, so I'm gonna just start sharing yours. Thank you so much, Sam, Emily, and April. I hope that was useful. I'm now going to hand over to Siobhan Odell from Suez. Hopefully your camera is working, Siobhan. Mike.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can't see you, but
brilliant. Oh, my camera's on, but it might move round as pictures move. Okay. But it's nice to meet you all. My name's Siobhan. I'm from the Suffolk Energy from Waste facility. If we could go to the next slide, please. So I work for Suez Recycling Recovery UK as opposed to Suffolk County Council. So if you can move to the next slide, please. So just a little bit of background about who we are. So Suez are a waste management company. Across the UK, we employ over 6,000 people, and we're guided by a vision where we want to engineer a society where there's no more waste, which may seem a bit contradictory considering we're a waste management company. But our goal is to help create a circular economy where waste materials are given a second life by being reused, recycled, or if they can't go anywhere else, recovered at one of our energy recovery facilities for their energy content. So if we could go to the next slide. Oh,
is that okay?
I think that's 2. Yeah, so the slide that we missed in between, don't worry, is just a picture of the energy from waste facility. And this diagram here gives you just a little bit of insight into what happens to your waste in Suffolk currently. I know Sam, Emily and April gave you a bit of an update on what's happening to it in the future. But when I'm talking about waste, I'm mainly talking about household waste, because all of Suffolk's black bin household waste comes to the energy from waste facility. We do also get business waste, and depending on who your contract is with in your school, that may or may not come to us, but that depends on your business contract. But all of the Suffolk household waste, as you can see in this diagram, that goes in the black bin comes to us at the energy from waste facility. Next slide, please. So the site itself is a partnership between Suez Recycling and Recovery UK and Suffolk County Council, and is due to save Suffolk taxpayers £350 million across the length of its contract, compared to sending that waste to landfill, which is the other alternative for black bin waste. And as you can see at the bottom, it's a 25-year long contract, and we will be there until 2039 at least. So we've got quite a while left with that facility, working in partnership with Suffolk County Council. Next slide, please. So the key facts about the facility: we're a cheaper and greener solution to landfill. Maximum, our turbine output is 26 megawatts, which is enough electricity to power about 50,000 homes. So that's quite a sizable settlement you can power just from what people are chucking away. We run a 2-line facility, have a visitor centre on site, and have 51 full-time members of staff and 3 apprentices. Next slide, please. So the facility takes up to 295,000 tonnes of waste each year, with approximately 95 trucks a day coming in a variety of shapes and sizes, from the local bin collections to our closest boroughs, and those further afield will get put into a transfer vehicle and come on an articulated lorry down. We can only accept waste from the east of England, with 75% of that coming from Suffolk, the remainder coming from Norfolk and Essex, and as I said, that small amount of business waste as well, which could be a school, but it could be other things too. Next slide, please.
Is that working?
So what can we offer you? Next slide, please. So we have a brand new visitor centre opened in the summer this year. We run free tours of the site for anyone who'd like to come. So that includes school groups. We can take up to 36 visitors at a time. So that's a usual class of 30 plus some supporting adults. Our visits last for approximately 2 hours, with a minimum ratio of 1 to 5 supporting adults and students. The tours are suitable for children who are 7 years old plus. The operational areas of the tour are not suitable for those with mobility or vertigo, but our visitor centre is accessible for everybody. And we can be flexible with the start and finish times of your visit, depending on how that will fit into your school day. And as you can see here, our visitor centre isn't designed just to talk about energy from waste, because as you will have seen, I believe it was on Sam's slide, she had that waste hierarchy, and recover actually falls at the bottom. You know, we aren't the best thing for the environment. We are the least favoured option out of the options you can do in Suffolk. But that's what our visitor centre and our tools are there designed to support with, to try and get children to think about what they're doing with their rubbish. How can they reduce it, reuse it, recycle it, all before it gets into that black bin. Now, the visitor centre has been designed with reuse in mind. And so, as you can see, we've got lots of practical uses of old things. So our benches are old school benches from someone's gym hall. And that's to give children the idea that, you know, we can use things in a more creative way than just for PE. But there's lots of options of that around the visitor centre. And we've got lots of interactive activities now. So if you've previously been, the visitor centre was more of a read and consume type interface, whereas now we've got lots of practical activities from crafting to interactive games, and our bike game still exists for those who came to the visitor centre before. Next slide, please. So I can see it's already gone into the chat. We have got a Teachers Open event next week. It would be great if we could have some more people sign up for this. At the moment, there is only one person signed up. And so if it continues to have only one sign up, I'll just get in contact with that person and sort something out separately. But it's just an opportunity for you to come and have a look round. If you can't make that event, you'll see our email at the end. Feel free to drop me a message and we can chat and talk about what we can do to support your school. Next slide, please. Because we appreciate that not everybody can come to the Energy from Waste facility. Maybe it's too far or too expensive, because although our tours are free, you know, coaches still have a fee to them or a minibus. So we can also offer support in school. We can come and do assemblies based on waste reduction and energy from waste. We also have some lessons we've created around energy from waste, the waste hierarchy and reduction, and also talking about a zero waste lunchbox, which is all the things that were covered by the Suffolk Waste Partnership earlier. We're also happy to support with bespoke lessons to support what you're learning about in class. Maybe you're learning about renewable energy, for example. All of that will welcome your interest and will support you where possible. Because it's not just me who works as the community liaison manager. In the centre there, you'll see a photo of another lady in a Suez top, and that's my colleague Jenny. We both used to be teachers in our past lives, so we're happy to support where possible. And we also, you can see from some of the other photos, can come to careers events and have stands with interactive resources or lead presentations and lectures. Next slide, please. And then last one, coming soon. Suez have been working with the University of the West of England, which I appreciate isn't very close to Suffolk. However, as Suez is across the whole of the UK, we work with multiple organisations in multiple areas. And we have been, or they have been developing an Inspiring Green Futures series, which we've now bought into, which is a selection of cards which share green job roles and try and help children work out what it means to have a green job, because it's quite a hard definition to explain. You know, you're not just being an alien, but what does that word green really mean and what skills are required for that? So they're sessions that we're looking to launch in the not too distant future as part of our offering in Suffolk too. Next slide, please. We can skip that one. That's just how the Energy from Waste facility works. And then if you'd like to get in contact with us, you can contact myself, Siobhan, and Jenny. If it goes to our suffolkefw.uk at Suez email address, it'll ping into both of our inboxes and we'll be able to get back to you quickly. Any queries, any suggestions, any thoughts, please just give us a message.
Okay, thanks Siobhan, thanks so much. I know that you've got to rush off, so has anyone got any questions for Siobhan while I stop presenting and Catherine gets ready?
Well, I have actually managed to sort some childcare in the end.
Oh, okay. All right then. Well, look, if you do have a question, maybe you can ask
because I was a bit worried about
chat.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want to ask it in the chat, and then maybe you can get back to them via the chat, Siobhan. Okay, I'm going to
no problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Handing over to Catherine from Recoup.
Great, thank you very much, Rebecca. So I'm Catherine from Recoup. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction to who we are as Recoup, and then talk through some resources which very much complement what's already been discussed by Rebecca and also Samantha. I might give you some ideas to implement within your schools, some lesson plans that are easy to pick up and utilise. So Recoup, who are we? We're the UK's leading independent authority and trusted voice on plastics recycling and resource efficiency. We are a registered charity and we're supported by our members. So our members really span the plastics value chain. So by that I mean people who are producing plastic products. We have a lot of the brands and the retailers members, waste management companies, people who are actually doing the recycling of plastic, universities, so anybody with an interest in plastics recycling and resource efficiency, and that includes local authorities as well. So our aim is to inspire collaboration by connecting the whole plastics value chain, to lead the continued development of plastic circular economy, resource efficiency, recycling and reuse, and to educate the public and businesses on all aspects of plastics recycling and resource efficiency. So what that boils down to is we do a lot of research, a lot of projects, and we also try and do a lot of engagement around taking some of our technical knowledge, translating it into easier to understand about how we can all make practical changes in our lives to support plastics recycling and resource efficiency. So over the last 10 years or so, we did have a consumer-facing platform called Pledge to Recycle Plastics, which obviously by name was focused on recycling of plastics, but we realised the need to evolve that because we should be reducing, we should be reusing. Recycling is not the top of the waste hierarchy, as we've seen previously. So we've evolved that into an initiative called Our Stuff, which is really looking at the stuff that we all buy, we all purchase, we all use every day, getting into the depth of that understanding of what we buy is having impacts on the world and its natural resources. So as we've already heard, we are using more than the Earth's amount of resources every year. So this is the real message we are pushing through Our Stuff. It is about resource conservation. It's making sure we live correctly and we're utilising resources in the right manner. If we don't, we're threatening people and the planet. So we've put together Our Stuff to really help communities. So the focus is communities and educational establishments to be able to make one small change at a time, as we realise this can be quite an overwhelming subject, and actually small actions do make a difference. So it's trying to get across that message and break it down for people as to how they can make some positive change. So I'm just going to talk through some of the resources that we've developed. So these are all freely available on our website, and I'll put the website link at the end of the presentation. As I said, we have just launched this platform, so these are resources we've launched with, but we will be developing more in the future as we're able to source funding to develop more. So this is just a starting point. So we do have a natural, we have one for primary and one for secondary schools. So this is really introducing the concept of natural resources, how we're consuming resources. So it does talk a bit about that linear economy, how we need to be more circular, resource consumption levels at the moment and the impact that it's having on us, on climate change, and on the earth in general. So we have PowerPoints available, ready to go, and also teacher guidance notes available to help you through those presentations as assemblies or within classes. We then have some further primary school resources. So this one's called Be Recycling Royalty. It's split into 2 sessions. So the first session introduces pupils to that concept of natural resources and how recycling can help to conserve natural resources. And so you can see the learning outcomes to understand what a natural resource is, how recycling can help, and why recycling is beneficial. And then session 2 is looking at how you can improve that recycling at the school. So going back to what Samantha was saying, it talks you through how you can look at the school, what's available in terms of bins, how well the school is set up to recycle, and how to improve the recycling at the school, but aimed at the primary school students. So it's getting the students to come along on this journey with you and being able to do that within the classroom. We then have another primary school resource, What's in Your Bin, which very much links back again to what Samantha was talking about in terms of waste audits. So this is a waste audit, but we've called it a bin check for primary school pupils, and it's a workbook to take them through that process. So again, it's got that introduction to resources and then highlighting, okay, well, what can we do? Looking at the location of the bins in 5 key areas around the school. Introduction to the types of bins, so understanding what those bins are, how to plan your bin check, what you need to consider, what tools, equipment you might need, how to then carry out the bin check, looking at what you might have seen during your bin check, the results and conclusions. But it's taken through in a easy to understand format for the children to understand, and it's got bits to fill in as they go along. Then moving on to some secondary school resources, and this is one we're probably like further alongside other bits, and again links back to what we heard about careers. So we have careers in circular economy. We've developed 2. I'd call these workshops, lesson plans. So the first one is focused on design. So how can careers in design support a circular economy? And we're plastic experts. A lot of the work we do is related to packaging, and this focuses in on plastic packaging. So understanding some of the reasons why plastic is used in the food packaging industry, understanding some of the design requirements of that, so both good and bad designs, and then applying that knowledge to create their own company and own design for a challenge that's set within the workshop. So we have, I should say, we have tested out all of these resources either on within schools or educational workshops, and they seem to have all gone quite well. And this was a particular one that people enjoyed because I think it gets you to design some packaging for chocolate at the end of it, and then there's a bit of a competition involved. We then have another toolkit looking at communications support in a circular economy. So understanding the important role of communications and the difference between the differences in behaviour campaigns, understanding greenwashing as part of all of that, and how you can produce a campaign toolkit which is clear and getting the right messages across that you want to deliver. So again, that involves an activity in there which it presents some challenges to students which they can then come up with their own communication campaign around to deliver to their peers. We do have a number of additional resources available as well on our website, which does include a coat and Christmas jumper swap toolkit. So again, these have been tested within communities, less so within schools, but the Christmas jumper swap would be entirely replicable within schools. We have a number of links to other educational resources, particularly focused around plastic. We have videos on the plastics recycling journey. That's something that people often lose trust in the recycling process because they put the packaging, the plastic into their bin, but then don't see what's happening to it past that point. So we find the videos quite educational and useful. We have a number of top 10 facts linked on the website, which again are focused on kids for the younger children. So it's top 10 facts on recycling, top 10 facts on numerous different topics. And we also have some seasonal toolkits. So at the moment we had Easter and Valentine's, which we developed, which have social media assets and some school activities, and we're just working on our Christmas toolkit, which we will launch soon. So to find out more, I would recommend you go to our website, which is ourstuff.uk. That's the Our Stuff website. And then if you wanted to find out a bit more about Recoup, that's www.recoup.org. You can email us, ourstuff@recoup.org, and then we also have social media channels, which you'd be very welcome to follow us on.